Hey everyone, welcome. We're talking about something super important for couples who want to remain married. We are talking about managing finances together. Whether you're newlyweds or you've been married for years, money can be a big source of stress if it's not handled properly. But it doesn't have to be that way. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share some tips that will help you and your spouse stay on the same financial page. Before I do that, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Damon Moore. I'm an attorney. I've been practicing law since 2005. I've seen hundreds of people at the end of their relationships using my firm to help them uncouple. And sometimes I just want to make videos that help people stay together. So let's talk about managing finances together. The first and most important tip is to communicate openly about money. You need to talk openly about your spending habits, your financial habits, and any debts that you're bringing into the relationship. This is an insanely important conversation to have because if the other person has bad spending habits, it can have a negative impact on you during the marriage. In fact, if the other person has bad spending habits, it could have a negative impact on you during the divorce. Let me tell you what I mean. People talk all the time about how in a divorce, the other person's going to get 50% or 50-50, or I want half, or things like that. We've all heard. But what's not talked about nearly as often is the idea that the debts are also part of the marital estate. And it's not uncommon for a judge to make people split half the debt. Think about how that would impact you if you're the person who has the good spending habits, but the other person takes risks and engages in poor or negative spending behaviors. Be honest, be transparent, be respectful. This is not about pointing fingers or assigning blame. It's about building trust and creating a shared understanding of where you are, and where and who you want to be as an individual and as a couple. Set time aside regularly so that you understand and are on the same financial page. Next, create a joint budget. Whether you decide to combine all your finances or you keep some of your finances separate, a budget will help you track your income, expenses, and savings. A great way to do this is to categorize your spending. Essential expenses like rent and utilities, groceries. Then take a look at your discretionary spending. Things like entertainment, vacations, dining out. You could use a budgeting app or even an old-fashioned spreadsheet. Whatever works best for the two of you. Set shared financial goals. Tip number 3 is to set shared financial goals. This could be anything from paying off debt, saving for a house, or even planning retirement. The key is to work as a team. Short-term goals versus long-term goals. Write down your short-term and long-term goals. Maybe in the short term, you're focusing on creating an emergency fund. Maybe you're trying to pay down a credit card debt or a student loan. For the long term, think a little bigger. Maybe it's some European vacation or some African safari or some trip to some Central American country. Or maybe it's saving for a retirement account. Tip number 4 is to build an emergency fund. Building an emergency fund should be high on your priority list. Life is unpredictable, and having 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up would really be helpful in the event of a health emergency or loss of employment. Having this cushion gives both of you a peace of mind and helps take away from some unneeded stress. If you don't have one, start small. Every little bit counts. Tip number 5, decide how to split responsibilities. Tip number 5 is to decide how you'll split financial responsibilities. Who's in charge of paying the bills? Who's keeping track of the savings accounts? Maybe one of you's more detail-oriented. Maybe one of you's better at long-term planning. One of the things that I do in my own home is something that we call our monthly Moore planning meeting. We start that meeting with a prayer. Then we repeat our Moore mission statement to each other. Then we talk about old business or old stuff. Then we talk about our financial plan or we give a financial report. Then we talk about new business or new things. Then we schedule our date nights, our weekend trips, other getaways. We schedule our home cleaning days during that meeting. And then we talk about anything else for the good of the order. If you want to learn more about how to make a planning meeting work for you, then leave me a message in the comments so that I know that it would be worth my time to put together that kind of video. Play to each other's strengths. Find what works best for your relationship. Just remember that both of you need to stay on the same page if one of you is handling the day-to-day financial responsibilities. We don't want any surprises in the relationship. Surprises build up animosity and they cause trust to erode. Tip number 6, plan for the future. This means things like savings for retirement, life insurance, even the creation of a will. These things aren't particularly exciting to discuss, but they're important for the relationship. Planning for the long haul is essential, and I think you'll find that some people find comfort in knowing that the other person is planning for the future with them. Work with a financial advisor if you need to, or do some planning on your own. The earlier you start, the more you're prepared, the better off you'll be. So those are our 6 smart tips for managing money together as a couple. Remember, money does not have to be a source of tension. It can be something that brings you together. If you found this video to be helpful, then like, subscribe, and share it with other couples. Thank you for watching, and on to the next video. Take care.